Welcome to the next section of the IFS masterclass. In this video lesson on IFS, you are going to learn more about the self. Before we start this lesson, I need to mention that the video you're watching was written by me with the assistance of OpenAI's newest software, ChatGPT-o1. I'm James Fitzgerald. I'm a Vermont state licensed clinical mental health counselor. The voice in this video is a clone of my voice created for the purposes of providing you, the viewer, with a clear, concise, and eloquent presentation with a more fluid cadence and rhythm in speech. The video scenes are provided by InVideo AI video developer software and licensed for my professional use. The photo scenes were created with ChatGPT 4.0 DALL-E software. I created the videos on this channel because I have found that the available information about IFS in the public domain did not align with my theoretical orientation to therapy and didn't adequately capture the integrative elements of this approach. YouTube has strict community standards regarding the content that gets shared, but if any images or ideas are disturbing to you, please let me know in the comments. The video you are watching has topics and issues that may activate parts of you that respond strongly to the material. You might find your parts disagreeing with some of it, and that's okay. You should talk to a professional if the reaction to triggers is overwhelming. The videos on this channel are not meant to take the place of professional mental health care treatment or therapeutic services. If you are in physical danger and don't feel safe, at home or in other settings or from others or yourself, please seek immediate help from qualified professionals. In this lesson, you will learn about the core concept of the self, its essential qualities, and its unique role within your system of mind. Understanding the self is an important part of your journey toward emotional healing, inner harmony, and personal growth. In the sections that unpack the qualities of self, we will be looking at some of the qualities from the perspectives of neuroscience, positive psychology, virtues, spirituality, philosophy, and other approaches to therapy. There will be exploration into the integration with other perspectives. I will provide affirmations, inspirational quotes and thoughts, and ways you can practice and strengthen each quality in a daily practice. Lastly, before we dive in, this is a long video. You may also wish to enhance this lesson by watching the videos in the 10-part series about the self, which supplement this video. The other videos are shorter in length at 10 to 15 minutes each and cover the same information and include additional material as this video provided in 10 separate lessons. Based on how you learn information, you can choose to watch the content in the way that works best for you. What is the self? IFS teaches us that the self is the central force in our bodies and minds that can guide our internal system and the parts and lead us to greater life satisfaction and improved health and wellness. In the center of our inner system and consciousness, there is something that is different in its nature from the parts of our conscious mind. This is the space from where we can observe our parts. It is the center of ourselves, sitting in the seat of consciousness. Yourself is not able to observe itself. Self is the observer. Self has no internal motivation, does not wish to control, manipulate, coerce, judge, or analyze the internal parts of the system or other people. Self isn't even your inner guide. Your inner guides are self-like parts of your system. The self in IFS can be compared to a calm and steady captain navigating a ship through turbulent waters. The ship represents you, the individual, and your internal system, and the crew members on board symbolize the various parts of your psyche. Some parts may be anxious, afraid, angry, or protective. All the crew on board, like the parts in your system, are trying to steer the ship in different directions. All the parts want the ship to survive the storms. These parts, like the crew of a ship, are doing their best to manage the challenges in life that they perceive and interpret, but they can become frantic, confused, misguided, or lost without the right guidance and leadership. The confident and courageous captain representing the self doesn't get swept away by the storms or the conflicting agendas of the crew. Instead, the captain remains calm, centered, composed, and compassionate, guiding the crew with understanding and patience. The captain listens to each crew member, valuing their concerns, but ultimately leads the ship and its crew with wisdom and clarity. When the captain is in charge, the ship sails more smoothly, navigating the challenges of life with resilience and purpose. In this metaphor, the self, like the captain, is always present, even during the stormiest times, capable of bringing order, peace, and direction to this journey of life. Let's take an epistemological look at how self is viewed from other perspectives. In ego psychology, a branch of Freud's psychoanalysis, it would be called the observing ego. In ego psychology, the ego is seen as responsible for your sense of self and ability to interact with the world. The ego is the balance point between animal urges, hedonistic desires and behaviors, and rigid adherence to all or nothing thinking and over-control. Buddhism refers to this aspect of ourselves as the witness or mindfulness. In Buddhist philosophy, then, the idea of the self is fluid. It is devoid of inherent existence and primarily relies on external factors. Buddhism promotes the abandonment of attachment to the material world, accentuating that only by releasing such bonds can one attain insight into the profound essence of existence. You might say, for example, self identifies itself and interacts with others using the following statements. I am sensing and feeling a part of me that thinks this is wrong. There is a part of me that wants to go with you and another part that wants me to stay home. The parts that protect my sense of agency and autonomy are activated because they perceive our needs are not being met. Self is who you are, absent of any other parts, and can describe the parts without bias or contempt. Let's take a look at how IFS integrates with DBT. In dialectical behavior therapy, the state of mind IFS calls self is similar to what DBT calls our wise mind. Wise mind is the synthesis between our rational mind and our emotional mind. Logic mind is cool, calm, collected. It is our proactive, rational, logical, intellectual, analyzing, thinking, and interpreting mind, absent of emotional reactions or decisions. It suppresses emotional activity when it's in critical thinking and analysis mode, when it's solving problems and making decisions. Emotion mind, on the other side, is our emotional, reactive, irrational, and feeling mind. It is hot, irritable, passive-aggressive, sad, anxious, angry, and aggressive, with observable weaknesses in its logical decision-making ability and problem-solving skills when emotion mind is in control. All logic and reasoning skills are suppressed. I invite you and encourage you to view my other supplemental videos on this channel about this concept of wise mind and self, including some of the guided meditations about the self. In another video, you will learn about the neurological underpinnings of internal family systems and how it integrates with different therapeutic approaches. Concluding this section of the lesson, the self, then, as the term is used in IFS sessions, is the core of your being, the place characterized by mindful and open awareness. It represents the most authentic, compassionate, and wise part of a person. Unlike the parts that we often associate with our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, such as our inner critic, our people-pleaser part, our inner perfectionist, our anxious part, or our angry part. The self is not one of the many fragmented or polarized pieces of our inner world and mind. Instead, it is whole, unchanging, and inherently balanced. The self is not something we can create. It has always been with us, and it is always present in every moment. However, it often gets obscured by the louder, more dominant voices of our parts. At times, it was not strong enough to handle the harms, hurts, and slights that life presented us with. If you watch the other videos about IFS, you will learn about how the exiles and protectors arose and took on roles within your internal system. The journey of IFS therapy involves recentering our lives around the self, so it can lead our internal system with connectedness, curiosity, calmness, clarity, confidence, and compassion. This leadership position fosters healing, reduces internal conflict, and helps us live more fulfilling lives. Now, in the next segments, you will learn about the qualities of self in greater detail. Dr. Richard Schwartz, the founder of IFS, identified 8 qualities of the self, often referred to as the 8 C's of self-leadership. These qualities reflect the essence of the self and are observable when a person is leading from self. In addition to the 8 C's outlined by IFS teachers, there are 2 more C's that could be added as supplemental strengths that describe self-energy or self-qualities. They are cooperation and consideration. These 2 additional qualities are helpful when interacting with our parts and other people. As we examine each of these self-qualities, you will be provided with self-affirmations from a perspective of virtues. You may say these affirmations out loud or silently to your parts from self. Now let's review all 10 of the qualities. The first quality of self I would like to discuss is compassion. Compassion toward one's parts, other people, our interactions, and our experience is a hallmark characteristic strength of the self. It is a quiet, assured confidence that stems from knowing one's inner strength and capacity to handle life's difficulties. In internal family systems therapy, compassion is a fundamental quality of the self. Compassion is the core, authentic essence of an individual that exists beneath layers of protective and wounded parts. Compassion in IFS is not just an emotion, but a transformative energy that fosters healing, understanding, and connection among one's internal parts and in relationships with others. This quality aligns closely with concepts from various traditions, sciences, positive psychology, philosophy, and other psychotherapeutic approaches, all of which underscore the profound impact of compassion on human well-being. Compassion is a form of kindness and love that arises when people are in pain. You genuinely care about how others feel and often feel prompted to support them through difficult times. When you are in self, you also naturally feel compassion for your internal system and activated parts. When activated parts are extreme, they're reacting to pain or suffering. Exiles feel it and expel it, and protectors try to fight it or avoid it. Compassion toward your parts is the most essential ingredient in the inner quest for understanding. It is needed in order to hold, support, and nurture your parts while you explore your system. Your parts can sense the self's compassion. It makes them feel safe and cared for, so they want to open up and share themselves with self. Compassion as a virtue is deep empathy for another who is suffering or living with misfortune. It is understanding and caring about others, and also having a strong desire to ease their distress. Compassion flows freely from self when we let go of judgments and criticism and seek to understand. Our compassionate presence helps others to know they are not alone. Sometimes they don't need us to fix anything. They only need to be heard with compassion so they can recharge their self-energy, operate from wise mind, and find their own inner wisdom. We need our own compassion as much as others do. Whether through introspection, silent reflection, kind words and deeds, or a gentle touch, compassion is a precious gift. Following are some self-affirmations to implement in your practice of compassion. I notice when someone is hurt or needs a friend. I feel empathy for the pain and suffering of others. I make the time to reach out to those who need supportive counsel. I care for others by listening actively and deeply, seeking to understand. I let them know I understand them with reflections using paraphrasing. I refrain from judgment and criticism and avoid giving them unsolicited advice. I have the same compassion for myself, all my parts, and others in all their parts. I am grateful for the self-energy, virtue, and character strength of compassion. It strengthens my energy, my essence, my spirit, my soul, my consciousness. Albert Einstein stated, "Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." The next quality of self I would like to discuss is clarity. The self possesses the strength of clarity, is always clear-minded, and can perceive and interpret reality accurately and objectively. It is not clouded by the emotional distortions of other parts. This clarity allows individuals to see their internal system and external world without confusion or bias. Clarity represents the self's ability to perceive internal and external realities accurately, without distortion from the biases, fears, or agendas of the internal system of parts or subpersonalities. It allows for a clear understanding of one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, facilitating effective and compassionate leadership of one's internal system. Clarity is our higher intelligence, conscious awareness, and spiritual knowledge. It is not about being woke, as that word seems to have become divisive, because it requires you to perceive reality with an all or nothing, right or wrong, good or bad mindset. Clarity allows you to think critically. It enables us to understand the essence of all people, situations, and our world, even with people our parts despise or do not agree with. This is the energy and voice of our higher consciousness within. Self is intuitive, intelligent, and sees things from a spiritual perspective. Self seems to be the divine intelligence within us. Self objectively perceives people, events, and experiences from wise mind. The self-energy of clarity correlates and theoretically blends with the concept of wise mind from dialectical behavior therapy. Wise mind is the synthesis of physical body mind, emotional mind, and rational mind. Wise mind is our gut feelings, our intuition, and our inner wisdom. This energy sees events, issues, and the world from a life journey perspective, able to see the bigger picture when we step back away from the problem and look at what is really happening. It perceives the deeper meaning and purpose of things. This energy uncovers and creates meaning from everyday events and our interactions. It senses patterns, sees themes, and recognizes archetypes. This energy has a thirst for knowledge and blends well with the self-energies of curiosity and creativity. This energy penetrates the surface of things to understand their essence and inner meaning. This energy allows us to remain open-minded and willing to learn and assimilate new knowledge. It does not hold on to prefixed ideas. It is not rigid. It does not see things through all or nothing lenses and sees the full spectrum of existence and experience. From a Buddhist perspective, it is an important characteristic to have on the path toward enlightenment. Self has the ability to notice clarity, this energy of self, in others. We often encounter this wise voice of understanding in the writings and books of scholars, academics, religious leaders, and philosophers. When others embody this quality, we seek out their support, wisdom, counsel, and guidance. They are able to help us understand ourselves better and put things into a higher intelligence perspective. People with this quality help us heal by understanding what we are going through in terms of the meaning of our challenges. They help us to make sense of our beliefs, emotions, thoughts, feelings, desires, values, and needs. They affirm our value and worth as a human being and validate our experience. We can strengthen this energy in ourselves. Reading the words of wise people and inspiring books helps to strengthen this quality in ourselves. Watching educational and inspirational videos, such as the one you're watching right now, improves our clarity and expands our knowledge. Building our skill at listening to our inner higher voice strengthens clarity. Research shows that 70 to 80% of our time is spent in negative, self-conscious, neurotic, rehearsing, ruminating, critical, anxious, and self-doubting thoughts. That time is when we are being controlled by managers and firefighters, the protector parts of our subconscious inner system. When we remember to step out of our negative, polluted stream of consciousness and into thoughts that are helpful, wise, and clear, we are enriched. We can talk to this quality and rely on this energy in the same way we talk to other parts to get guidance. Strengthening our ability to listen with greater empathy, care, warmth, and understanding of others builds this quality. Developing active listening skills is crucial to the continued improvement of this quality. We should strive to listen to understand, not listen to respond. Being willing to take risks to be vulnerable, to talk about the more meaningful and deeper things in life, ourselves and others, strengthens and embodies this quality. During a mindful breathing meditation, we can practice the following Wise Mind DBT exercises. In our meditations, we can ask our wise mind a question and listen for the answer. We can ask, "Is this wise mind?" We can pause between the breath to feel the presence of wise mind. Marie Forleo stated, "Clarity comes from engagement, not thought." The next quality I'll review is the calm and tranquil presence of self. The self brings a sense of calm serenity to the internal system. When individuals are led by their self, they feel an inner peace, even in the face of challenges. They are less reactive and more capable of thoughtful responses. This is especially helpful when you are relating to a part that has intense emotions. Intense grief or shame, for example, can be overwhelming if you aren't grounded in self. Protectors will avoid a part that has very strong emotions. But when you are centered in the calmness of self, there is no need to avoid a part that is feeling intense emotion. You remain in self while the part shows you its pain. The calmness of self supports you through the difficult work of witnessing and healing the part. For all these reasons, the self is the agent of psychological healing and IFS work. It helps you heal and transform your parts so they become free of their extreme feelings and behavior and assume healthy roles in your life. Calmness is being happy, contented, tranquil, and serene. It is the capacity to mindfully appreciate the beauty, wonder, and awe of each precious moment. This self-energy enables us to feel great inside, physically, emotionally, and mentally. This tranquil self-energy of calmness contains pure attunement, presence, serenity, and joy in an almost spiritual experience. It is the ability to feel deeply at peace, contented, relaxed, and pure unconditional love. It is being completely comfortable and blissful, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Some people find that a formal practice of meditation relaxes them. Mindfulness meditation works for some types of situations, but using it as a technique to feel euphoria and pleasure often does not work. Prioritizing the time to meditate in our busy, demanding world can be a challenge. Other important survival tasks often take up all our time, blocking us from important and needed self-care time. Meditating involves opening up to all sensations, thoughts, and emotions. This exposes us to the raw pain that we feel inside, making us vulnerable without any coping skills to control or channel the sensations, thoughts, and emotions. Even if we manage to meditate and have a serene, blissful meditation session, The minute we are triggered by people or situations, or we remember the horrible real-world problems we are facing, we get thrown back into stress, anxiety, panic, anger, or depression. Also, in westernized societies and hurry culture, mindfulness and meditation instructions leave out the critical element of connecting with the positive life force. The same way some yoga practitioners forget the breathing, energy flow, and meditation aspects of yoga, a more effective way of being in our busy, demanding worlds is cultivating a relaxed, positive, physiological, balanced body state all day long. We can do this with stretching or gentle yoga called yin yoga and restorative yoga, physical activity and moving and hatha yoga, walking mindfully, intentional breathing techniques and pranayama, vagus nerve activation and somatic experiencing, calming positive self-talk and thought stopping, self-affirmations and visualization of tasks, working with our protectors and concerned parts, soothing and reparenting our exiles, loosening our muscles with progressive muscle relaxation paired with breathing cues, and visualizing soothing experiences. We can see this self-energy of calmness in others. When other people are totally relaxed, content, and calm, it calms us. We are naturally drawn to people who are authentically and genuinely calm, and able to calm in the storms of our stressed out, hectic, demanding, and upsetting world. Mindfulness of parts meditation can be used to develop a positive mind-body state all day long. This involves strengthening the virtue and mindfulness attitude of gratitude, and increasing the feeling of loving yourself, the people in your life, and your life experiences. You can build a practice of sitting and listening to your breath as you imagine all your parts surrounding you. This allows you to embrace your parts and all their emotions, thoughts, and sensations in your system as you soothe, nurture, accept, and calm your inner parts. The program you're following teaches mindfulness and meditation as the foundation before any other approach. The first skill you learn in dialectical behavior therapy is mindfulness. The character strength and virtue of mindfulness is also a skill that you can learn. You should remember that mindfulness and meditation are not the same concept, but they are related and interrelated. Mindfulness can be cultivated while you are busying yourself with daily activities of living. Meditation is a ritual you perform while you are not busying yourself with other responsibilities. Mindfulness is living with conscious awareness of your actions, words, and thoughts. Awake to the world around you, you can fully experience your senses. You are able to be attentive to other people's needs. You refuse to rush. Living mindfully lightens our lives by helping us lose our unhealthy attachment to our emotions. We transform anger to justice, anxiety to serenity, depression to pleasant activities. We seek joy and not mere desire. We enjoy the quality of our food, not just the quantity. We cultivate our inner vision, aware of life's lessons as they unfold. Mindfulness brings peacefulness, calmness, clarity, wisdom, tranquility, and serenity. In mindfulness, we find self in a leadership role on the seat of consciousness. In the perspective of dialectical behavior therapy skills, wise mind is cultivated through a practice of mindfulness. John Kabat-Zinn stated, "Give yourself permission to allow this moment to be exactly as it is, and allow yourself to be exactly as you are." There is another quote from Tao Te Ching that asks, "Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things?" Following are some affirmations to implement a practice of mindfulness. I seek always to be awake and aware. I am considerate of the needs of others. I keep a pace of grace. I project an attitude of gratitude. I do not allow emotion, mind, and impulses to control me. I politely ask my parts to remain calm, step aside, or soften their presence and allow self to keep leading the internal system. I cultivate my spiritual awareness with daily quiet reflection time as part of a structured routine. I remain a lifelong learner. My seeking of knowledge has not stopped with the formal education systems. When we are calm, we tend to be content with what is, a way of accepting life on life's terms. The next quality I would like to discuss is curiosity. A natural and authentic curiosity about our inner experiences is another key characteristic strength of the self. Instead of judging or dismissing parts of the self, a person in a position of self-leadership is genuinely curious. This curiosity creates space for deeper exploration, understanding, and healing. When the self is leading, there is no condemnation or criticism, only understanding and empathy for the suffering parts that carry burdens. When you are in self, you are curious about your own parts and other people in an open, accepting way. When you inquire into what makes them tick, it's because you want to understand them, not judge them. The self is also curious about the inner workings of your mind. You want to understand why each part acts as it does, what its positive intent is for you, what unmet need is it asking for, and what it is trying to protect you from. This curiosity comes from an accepting place, not a critical one. When parts sense this genuine interest, they know they are entering a welcoming environment, and they aren't afraid to reveal themselves to you. Curiosity is being curious about other people in an open, accepting way. When you inquire into what makes them believe, think, and feel the way they do, it's because you want to understand them and their values, not judge them. When we are in self-leadership mode, self is curious about all the parts, with no negative feelings toward them. To be curious is to explore and discover, to take an interest in ongoing experience for its own sake. Curiosity is often described as novelty-seeking and being open to experience, and it's associated with the natural desire to build knowledge. It is fulfilling to journey toward an answer, to engage in a new experience, or to learn a new fact. To go to a new restaurant, visit a new city, meet a new person in your class, or to conduct an online search for a question can each fulfill your quest for new experiences and new information. The curious energy of the self is our inner explorer and scientist that experiences wonder and awe and appreciates beauty. Curiosity is central to our core self's ability to heal our wounded, hurt, exiled parts. When we seek to find out everything we can about a protector or exile, we help to unburden and heal that part. This self-energy allows us to take in the miracle and beauty of other people, the world around us, and our own internal system. Our parts need to know and trust that self hears them and understands them. Roy Bennett states, "Listen with curiosity, speak with honesty, act with integrity." The greatest problem with communication is we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. When we listen with curiosity, we don't listen with the intent to reply. We listen for what's behind the words. We all have a primal need to have our deepest emotions and experiences understood. Couples will get drawn into endless conflicts because neither feels understood. They get locked in battles with one's polarized parts versus another's polarized parts, instead of self-to-self interactions, where partners are communicating and connecting with compassion, cooperation, and consideration. It is important when listening and communicating that we listen to understand and not listen to respond. Finding out everything we can about people and parts changes everything. The world around us and the life forms in it are marvels of natural wonder and beauty. The world, our planet Earth, could be considered one enormous living, breathing, and thriving organism. We are all swimming in the same pool, so we should try not to pollute it, literally and figuratively. Discovering everything we can about life, ourselves, and others is the fuel for growth and happiness. Curiosity and witnessing the experiences of others and ourselves can heal our hurt and the hurt of others. We can see the self-energy of curiosity expressed by others. When others take a deep interest in us, it helps us grow and heal. People who possess this quality have tremendous influence in others' lives. They bring out the best in others by helping others feel worthy, important, and listened to. We can strengthen the self-energy of curiosity in ourselves. When we focus on strengthening our curiosity and listening skills, they improve significantly. Adventure, exploring and learning everything we can about people, their parts, our parts, and the world enriches us. This skill can be built by doing more exploring, traveling, questioning, and discovering. This skill can be strengthened by devoting ourselves to actively listening, validating others, and affirming other people's worth. To wrap up what I want to share about curiosity, here's a quote from Stephen Hawking. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. And however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you don't just give up. Confidence is next on the list of self-qualities. Confidence arises naturally when the self is in leading from the seat of consciousness. If it helps, imagine yourself as a benevolent leader. Other strengths associated with confidence include self-assured, self-reliant, assertive, certain security, composed, optimistic, and resilient. Confidence is the sense of assurance that comes from having faith in ourselves and in life. Confidence allows us to trust that we have the strength to cope with whatever happens. Self-confidence and believing in ourselves is absolutely critical to feeling great, being in self-leadership mode, and living the life we desire. Resilience and bouncing back is one of the most important skills in life. Resilience is critical to mental, emotional, physical, social, and spiritual health. We are continuously discouraged, disappointed, frustrated, encountering pain, and dealing with problems. The world triggers powerfully negative emotions, thoughts, and sensations within us. The ability to bounce back from our shame, rejection, mistakes, and upsets is central to self-leadership. We need to keep getting back up and trying again and again. Our parts may make us feel that we have nothing left to give and have been defeated. Resilience involves having the fight left inside to battle against all negativity and problems both within and outside of us. To be successful on our hero's journey, we need to mobilize our powerful inner warrior. When our warrior wins, we can go from being victims and survivors to being victors, advocates, allies, and activists. We have no trouble seeing others displaying confidence and positive self-esteem. It radiates from them. When we experience others as being able to take care of themselves, it helps us do the same. This quality involves seeing problems as life's lessons placed directly in our path on purpose for our continued growth. We can strengthen this energy in ourselves. Developing or strengthening our confidence takes practice. The Calm Power program can teach assertiveness skills to our inner champion or inner warrior parts. By helping and guiding the helpful parts of the system learn and implement the skills in the program, self strengthens the energy of confidence and earns trust from all the parts. The first skill taught in the program is Tough Thinking by James Lohr. The other skill is Self Assertion. Tough thinking involves using strong thoughts to solve problems and fight against internal and external threats. Self Assertion stands for specifics, understanding, repetition, and firmness, or find a compromise. The more specifically we ask for the exact behavior, action, or words we want to see or hear, the more likely we are to get it. Showing our understanding of someone else's perspective and subjective experience helps the other person to see our side. Repeating what we want 3 to 5 times asserts our power and protects us from being aggressive, insulting, getting into debates, or defending ourselves. It keeps self in charge and protector parts in the background. Being firm and finding a compromise allows us to get what we want and need without denying others their needs. Sometimes we do have to enforce boundaries within intimate or personal relationships. One way to look at boundaries is that a boundary is what you will do if your needs are not being met, if your point of view is not being respected, if your value is not being seen, and if your right to even exist is being challenged. A boundary can be stated as, I feel afraid, anxious, angry, and sad when I perceive you raising your voice and using a condescending tone. If you continue to keep speaking to me in that tone and at that volume, I am going to walk away from this conversation or hang up this call. If I no longer feel afraid, anxious, angry, and sad, we might be able to keep having this conversation. It is also important to give the other person 2 chances to do something different. For more on assertiveness, confidence, boundaries, self-respect, and interpersonal relationships, I invite you to watch the DBT series of videos about the skills in the DBT Interpersonal Effectiveness module. You have the right to feel respected, valued, seen, heard, and loved. As a virtue, confidence is having faith in ourselves and in life. We feel capable and competent. We trust that we have the strength to cope with whatever happens. Confidence helps us to be free of worry. When we are confident in others, we believe in them and rely on them. We build self-confidence as we learn from our mistakes and improve for the better. Confidence brings the strength to try new things, to gain mastery through practice. With confidence, we cast off self-limiting beliefs and lingering doubts. We offer our gifts as a worthy contribution. When opportunity becomes available, we step up to it. We can just say yes. Following are some affirmations to implement the practice of confidence. I have the strength to face what life brings me. I act with self-assurance. I treat others as trustworthy. I honor my mistakes and learn from them. I have discipline and patiently practice until I master something. I fully express my talents and ideas. I maintain a positive attitude and remain grateful for everything I have. I am grateful for the gift of confidence. It helps me to contribute fully and freely. Here are some inspirational and motivational thoughts about confidence. Believe in yourself even when no one else does. Embrace your unique qualities. They set you apart. Every step forward, no matter how small, builds confidence. Mistakes are lessons that strengthen your resolve. Trust your abilities. You are more capable than you think. Confidence is the key to unlocking your potential. Surround yourself with positivity to boost your self-belief. Face your fears. Overcoming them empowers you. Celebrate your achievements, big or small. Your confidence inspires others. Be the example. Hopefully, these words will motivate you to embrace and strengthen your confidence. The next quality of self I'll delve into is courage. Courage allows us to face difficult emotions, memories, interactions, or situations without being overwhelmed. This courage enables people to engage in the healing process, even when it is painful or challenging. The self-energy of courage transforms fear into determination. Embracing life fully without holding back, doing what must be done even when it is difficult or risky. The self naturally is courageous, heroic, and brave. This virtuous character strength makes us strong and willing to fight hard to achieve our life's mission, our meaning and purpose. This energy battles against the negative forces and problems of daily life. This energy gives us the ability to fight hard to help others and achieve our goals. We all have the inner resources of bravery and courage. It is critical that we nurture and strengthen this energy because life is unforgiving and tough. The experience of living is samsara. We will grow older, become ill, and we will die. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Life is a journey filled with problems, challenges, trauma, and catastrophe. It is said that the hardships that cross our path in life are really opportunities that challenge us to learn, change, improve, grow, and achieve our life's mission. The secret to dealing with life's challenges is to build resilience by learning life skills. We can upgrade our brain's hardware and operating system and reprogram the software in our mind. The hero's journey that we are on demands that we stand up and fight to overcome challenges, to bring about a better life, one worth living. Courage enables self to work with protectors and exiles, unburden them, heal them, and lead them. We can see the quality of courage in others. Think about the people you know who are strong, heroic, and courageous. Who has these innate qualities of self? Who do you admire and respect? Which people on that list can admit their mistakes? Which ones make amends and continuously improve and change for the better? We can strengthen our own courageous self-energy. Developing courage, being vulnerable, taking risks, being strong inside, having a strong constitution, having resilience, problem solving, and working at positive relationships takes discipline and is hard work. One way to strengthen courage is to clarify the meaning of what is the most important goal for you to achieve. How do you want to align your values with your thoughts, decisions, vocation, and actions? Write down the key action steps you need to take and things you will do to strengthen your heroism, bravery, and courage. Write down the actions you will complete every day to live a life worth living that includes giving more fully to others. Keep reviewing and revising this list when necessary. The list will help you work on overcoming any fear and hesitancy that holds you back from being brave and courageous. As a virtue, courage transforms fear into determination. We practice the virtue of courage by embracing life fully without holding back, doing what must be done, standing up for others less fortunate even when it is difficult or risky. Integrity takes courage. It is what you do when no one is looking. When we are exhausted and overwhelmed and are tempted to give up, the character strength of courage supports us while we take the next step and the next. It allows us to face adversity with confidence. Courage opens us to new possibilities and gives us the strength to sacrifice for what we love. At times we need courage to accept the truth, to see reality as it is, not the way we want it to be. We need courage to pick ourselves up after a mistake, reassess what we could have done differently, ready to make amends and maintain our discipline so we can try again. Courage gives us the strength to make this journey. Courage allows us to cooperate with all our parts and lead the internal system. Jalal-ud-Din Rumi states, "Heart, be brave. If you cannot be brave, just go. Love's glory is not a small thing." Following are some affirmations to implement the practice of courage. I reach beyond and step outside my comfort zone. I welcome new challenges. I do what I know is ethical and moral, regardless of the outcome or consequences. I am comfortable with vulnerability because it takes courage to be vulnerable. I face the truth with humility and openness. I accept reality as it is not how I want it to be. I don't allow my fears to hold me back. I fully accept life's invitations. My courageous self accepts all my parts and leads them through life with courage, discipline, and persistence. I am grateful for the strength of courage. It allows me to spread my wings. Courage is not something that comes flying into your heart in moments of need or in emergencies. Courage is not something that can be handed over to you through lessons either. Courage is a way of life. It is as much a habit as anything else, like getting up and brushing your teeth in the morning or drinking coffee. It's a matter of routine more than anything else. People tend to speak of courage only in terms of deeds. For instance, they might speak of courage in the battlefield. Soldiers, firefighters, and police officers are supposed to show courage. Or they might refer to courage in the face of devastation such as floods and earthquakes. However, courage is not merely a name you can give to putting up with a bad situation. In a bad situation, there is not much one can do except cope with whatever strength and forbearance you can muster. Although we don't notice it, a lot of courage is just part of our routines. The person who gets into a blocked sewer shows courage. The farmer who tills the land, not knowing whether they will have a rainy season to grow the crops, shows courage. The parent who resists temptation to lavish goodies on their children shows courage. The child who breaks a leg during sports activities and goes back to the game later shows courage. The student who is bent on following their dreams shows courage. The adolescent coming out to their family as LGBTQIA shows tremendous courage. The real test of courage is in our daily lives, or at least it should be. It is the courage to speak the truth all the time, because lies are the biggest and most obvious sort of cowardice that all of us hide behind. It takes courage to speak our mind and not stay silent simply because we are afraid that other people might not agree with us. Of course, there will be conflicting views, and of course, conflict is unpleasant. But not speaking your mind can lead to much worse unpleasantness. It takes courage to stand up for what we believe in. It takes courage to follow public rules and laws and insist that other people follow them too. It takes courage to resist those who take easy ways out, which only leads to more corruption and red tape in our social systems. Mark Twain said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting in spite of it." The sign of a courageous person, then, is someone who feels fear, recognizes fear, and still goes on to do what they believe is right. Another character strength of self is creativity. The self is inherently creative, able to generate new ideas, solutions, and ways of being. When individuals are led by their self, they can think outside the box and approach life with a sense of openness and innovation. Creativity is the power of imagination and being open to inspiration, which ignites our originality. Creativity and novel thinking enable us to build a life we deserve and worth living. It allows us to make a contribution to our community, subculture, and broader culture. Form satisfying and loving relationships. Guide our stream of consciousness. Enjoy life. Creativity gives us the skills to express self through our work. Creativity is at the center of our core consciousness. This self-energy is as important as the air we breathe. Life is constantly ending, renewing, and creating. We are part of the creation of life, and we in turn must create every day to be a part of our world. Without realizing it, we all create each moment in our lives. Many of us create dull, boring, mundane, and repetitious moments. Some of us create fascinating interactions, dialogues, events, experiences, and memories. Through influence and impact, we manifest the nature of our relationships, career, families, emotions, stream of consciousness, and even our surroundings. When this energy is absent or weak, the system is led by protectors, triggered by exiles, and we seemingly lead our lives on automatic pilot. We react to people and events, we become distressed, and we become emotionally dysregulated. We can choose to create dull, mundane experiences or exciting, novel, and unusual experiences. This energy expresses itself in how we think and feel. We can think and feel on autopilot or in creative, innovative, and novel ways. We often think of our lives as just reacting to the people and events around us. It takes a lot of hard work and emotional and mental energy to create. If we think of ourselves as passive recipients of the daily events of our lives, we will not feel or be creative or create what we want and need. We can notice the quality of creativity in others. Many of us live so much of our lives on autopilot. We are often too exhausted or stressed to muster the energy to be creative in our interactions, thoughts, and work. When other people are creative, it helps us to tap into our own inner reservoir of creativity. Creativity can take many forms. Creativity involves being fascinated by everything and being enthusiastic. This fascination involves appreciating how things work, what makes people tick, and the unfolding of events. This energy can come out in artistic or intangible ways. It sees the humor in all things. It is the belief that every problem can be solved. We can strengthen this self-energy. Creativity ignites novel ways to see, think, and respond. With this energy, we delight in thinking, feeling, and doing things that are different from the status quo. It is idiosyncratic, childlike, and playful. It allows us to use our imagination. Our sense of humor expresses the joy, fun, and wonderful things in life by using jokes and comedy to bring attention to the playfulness of life. Our creativity can be expressed through being artistic, our interactions, comments, and/or seeing things from a different perspective. Creativity knows no boundaries. As a virtue, creativity is the power of imagination. It allows us to be open to inspiration, which ignites our originality. With creativity, we are resourceful and intuitive. We solve problems in new and surprising ways. We know how to have fun and be playful. We take time for dreaming. Discovering our own special talents is a gift to the world, whether making a meal, playing a sport, or creating art. Creativity connects us to the beauty of sound, design, color, movement, ideas, and words, and allows us to bring something new into the world. Creativity brings our gifts to fruition. Creativity allows humans to create things that inspire awe and wonder. Following are some affirmations to implement the practice of creativity. I treasure and nurture my imagination. I am innovative in solving problems. I take time for inspiration. I entertain my hopes and dreams. I remember to play and remain playful. I develop my unique gifts through learning, discipline, and practice. I dare to be original and think outside the box. I am grateful for the strength of creativity. It allows my skills and talents to bloom. Here are some inspirational thoughts about creativity. Creativity is the spark that ignites innovation and brings ideas to life. Embrace your unique perspective and don't be afraid to think differently. Every great achievement begins with a creative thought. Let your imagination soar, push boundaries, and remember that your ideas have the power to change the world. The next quality of self I'll outline is the energy of connection. The self fosters a sense of connectedness both internally with one's parts and externally with others. This connection is grounded in empathy, understanding, and a shared sense of humanity. Connectedness refers to the inherent ability of the self to establish harmonious relationships, both internally with one's own parts or subpersonalities, and externally with others and the world at large. Internally, connectedness involves fostering open communication and understanding among the various parts of oneself. In IFS, these parts may include wounded exiles, protective managers, and reactive firefighters. When the self is connected, it can Acknowledge and embrace all parts, and recognize each part's role and value, even if they hold conflicting viewpoints. Facilitate internal dialogue by encouraging parts to express themselves without fear of judgment, leading to healing and integration. Maintain balance by ensuring no single part dominates, promoting a cohesive and balanced inner system. This internal harmony mirrors the concept of self-integration found in other psychological theories, where a unified self-concept leads to greater well-being. Externally, connectedness extends to forming meaningful relationships and a sense of belonging within communities. It involves empathy and understanding, and being attuned to others' feelings and perspectives. Authentic communication by sharing one's true self while respecting others. Social engagement by actively participating in social networks and contributing to the welfare of others. In positive psychology, connectedness aligns with the concept of relatedness in self-determination theory. This theory posits that relatedness, the need to feel connected to others, is one of three basic psychological needs essential for motivation and well-being. Character strengths associated with connectedness include kindness and acts of generosity and compassion toward others, love and valuing close relationships with others, social intelligence and being aware of the motives and feelings of oneself and others. In Buddhism, the principle of interdependent origination suggests that all phenomena arise in dependence upon multiple causes and conditions. This parallels the IFS view of parts influencing each other within the system, and underscores the importance of mindfulness and compassion in fostering connectedness. Let's take a look at the neuroscience of connection. Research on the social brain demonstrates that humans are wired for connection. Mirror neurons, for example, enable empathy by allowing us to experience others' emotions. This biological basis supports the IFS emphasis on connectedness for psychological health. As for other theories, attachment theory suggests that early relationships shape our ability to connect with others. Secure attachments foster a sense of safety and connectedness. Carl Rogers' person-centered therapy emphasizes unconditional positive regard, empathy, and congruence, which facilitate connectedness between therapist and client and within the client's self-concept. Let's review the character strengths and virtues associated with connectedness. We have already looked at compassion, the ability to feel empathy for others and oneself, leading to acts of kindness and support. We have reviewed courage, facing fears to connect deeply with others and one's own vulnerable parts. We have not discussed the following, but they are related. Authenticity is being true to oneself, which fosters genuine connections. Humility means recognizing one's limitations and being open to others' contributions. Gratitude is appreciating the relationships and experiences that enrich one's life. Forgiveness means letting go of contempt and resentments to restore connections. Connectedness as a quality of the self in IFS is a multifaceted concept that resonates across various disciplines. It underscores the importance of harmonious relationships within oneself and with others. By cultivating connectedness, individuals can develop character strengths and virtues that not only enhance personal well-being, but also contribute to the greater good. This interconnected approach aligns with philosophical, psychological, and scientific understandings of human nature, affirming that connection is a fundamental aspect of a fulfilling life. To expand this discussion on connection, I invite you to consider the bonds and relationships we form with ourselves, others, and the broader world. Connectedness is the sense of being linked or associated with something outside oneself. Interconnectedness expands on this by highlighting the web of relationships that tie all beings and phenomena together. It suggests that every action, thought, or feeling is part of a larger system affecting and being affected by others. This is closely tied to the virtue of humanity described by the Virtues Project. The Virtues Project is a global initiative that identifies and promotes universal virtues to inspire character development and personal growth. Humanity is one of these core virtues and encompasses qualities such as compassion, empathy, kindness, and love. It emphasizes recognizing the inherent worth of every person and acting with consideration and benevolence toward others. Connection is fundamental to experiencing and expressing the virtue of humanity. By connecting with others, we develop empathy by understanding others' feelings and perspectives. It then becomes possible for us to form genuine connections. By connecting with others, we cultivate compassion by recognizing our shared experiences, which fosters a desire to alleviate others' suffering. By connecting with others, we practice kindness with random acts of kindness or generosity. This desire arises naturally when we feel connected to others. Interconnectedness reinforces the idea that we are all part of a collective human experience. This awareness can lead to global compassion by understanding that our actions have far-reaching impacts. This encourages more considerate behavior. It can lead to shared responsibility by recognizing that interconnectedness inspires collaborative efforts to address societal and global issues. It can lead to mutual support by acknowledging our interdependence, which promotes support systems that benefit the community as a whole. The quality of connectedness within the self allows for harmonious relationships among internal parts and extends outward to others. Recognizing the interconnectedness of our internal parts mirrors the understanding of interconnectedness in humanity. By fostering internal connection, individuals are better equipped to express the virtue of humanity externally. Connection and interconnectedness are fundamental to embodying the virtue of humanity. Humanity is an attitude of caring and mercy toward all people. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish the future for the children. We all suffer and rejoice. We all know the feelings of sorrow and joy. Although in the eternal scheme of life each of us is small, we are one of a kind, irreplaceable. We lose our humanity whenever we generalize about a group of people and separate ourselves from them because of external characteristics such as race or biological sex. We tap into our humanity whenever we put ourselves in someone else's circumstances and are genuinely concerned for their well-being. Our humanity grows when we are acting in service to others of our own free will. By recognizing that we are all part of a larger human family, we are more likely to act with compassion, kindness, and empathy. There is no they, only us. These actions not only improve our individual well-being, but also contribute to a more compassionate and interconnected world. Martin Luther King stated, "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all of humanity." Here are some self-affirmations you can repeat in your daily practice. I feel a common bond with all people. I value each person as an individual. I refrain from prejudice or discrimination. I am vigilant to my implicit bias and privilege. I feel empathy for the suffering of others. I have a passion for compassion. I offer my service freely and altruistically. I am grateful for the virtue of humanity. It connects me to all other people. The Virtues Project's emphasis on humanity encourages us to see beyond ourselves, fostering a global community where every individual is valued and supported. Neil deGrasse Tyson states, We are all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically. Now that we have covered the qualities of self, it's time to analyze the role of the self in our internal system. The self serves as the natural leader of the internal system, guiding the parts with wisdom and compassion. Each person has a multitude of parts, and these parts often take on extreme roles in response to trauma, stress, or unmet needs. Some parts may become protectors, striving to shield the individual from emotional pain, while others may be exiles carrying unresolved wounds. The self's primary role is to help these parts feel safe, seen, heard, felt, and understood. Instead of forcing parts into submission or ignoring them, the self builds relationships with them. Through this process, parts can unburden themselves from their extreme roles and become more integrated into the individual's overall sense of self. This relationship between the self and the parts mirrors a therapeutic relationship. The self acts as the compassionate therapist for the internal system. Just as a therapist holds space for a client's pain, the self holds space for the parts, guiding them toward healing and balance. In IFS therapy, it is believed that the self has all the strengths, energy, qualities, and resources needed for healing. When a person is in a position of self-leadership, they can approach their inner world with wisdom, helping their parts transform. This doesn't mean that life becomes free of difficulty. It just means that there is a stable, compassionate presence capable of navigating whatever arises. Traditionally, self-qualities are encapsulated in the 8 C's of self: calmness, curiosity, clarity, compassion, confidence, courage, creativity, and connectedness. Cooperation and consideration can be viewed as supplemental additions to these core qualities, further enriching the understanding of the self's role and fostering both internal and external harmony. Cooperation in the context of IFS refers to the collaborative relationship between the self and the various parts of one's internal system. When the self leads with cooperation, it facilitates internal harmony by encouraging parts to work together rather than in opposition, reducing internal conflicts and fostering unity. It facilitates integration by helping exiled or marginalized parts feel welcomed and valued, promoting overall psychological well-being. It facilitates alignment of goals by ensuring that all parts are aligned with the individual's true intentions and desires, leading to more coherent actions and decisions. Cooperation enhances the quality of connectedness by bridging gaps between disparate parts of the self, creating a more unified internal experience. It also reflects outwardly, improving interpersonal relationships through collaborative and harmonious interactions. Consideration involves the self's ability to be mindful and respectful of the needs, feelings, and perspectives of both internal parts and other people. In IFS, this manifests as empathy towards parts. By listening to and understanding the fears, desires, and motivations of different parts without judgment. It manifests as balanced decision-making. By weighing the input of all parts to make decisions that honor the whole self. It manifests as respectful interactions. By engaging with others thoughtfully, acknowledging their experiences and viewpoints. By practicing consideration, the self strengthens connectedness by fostering deeper empathy and understanding within the internal system and in relationships with others. It encourages a compassionate stance that values each part's contribution to the whole. Connectedness is the sense of being linked internally among one's parts and externally with others. Both cooperation and consideration directly enhance this quality. Cooperation and consideration help unify internal parts, promoting a cohesive self-experience where all parts feel acknowledged and integrated. These qualities extend to how one interacts with others, facilitating stronger, more empathetic relationships. By embodying cooperation and consideration, the self not only harmonizes the internal system, but also models healthy relational dynamics in the external world. Adding cooperation and consideration as supplemental C's to the IFS model highlights the dynamic and relational aspects of the self's qualities. These additions emphasize the importance of collaborative and empathetic interactions within the internal family system, the enhancement of connectedness both internally and externally, the promotion of holistic healing by ensuring all parts are heard, respected, and integrated. Incorporating these qualities enriches the IFS framework, offering a more comprehensive understanding of how the self can lead with wisdom and compassion to foster both inner harmony and positive relationships with others. Let's highlight some of the character strengths embodied by the self. In addition to the 10 qualities we have already addressed, the self embodies numerous character strengths that play a vital role in personal development and well-being. These character strengths help individuals lead a meaningful life and contribute to both their internal system and the world around them. A key character strength that emerges when leading from the self includes integrity. The self acts with a deep sense of integrity, ensuring that decisions and actions align with one's core values and principles. This allows for authenticity and fosters trust, both internally and in relationships with others. Another key character strength that emerges when leading from the self includes resilience. The self possesses resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity and continue growing. Even when life presents challenges, the self remains steadfast and capable of guiding the parts through difficult times. Another strength that emerges when leading from the self includes humility. Humility is a strength of the self as it understands that healing is an ongoing journey. The self does not seek control over the parts, but instead works collaboratively with them. Another strength that emerges when leading from the self includes gratitude. Gratitude is a natural expression of the self, appreciating the contributions of each part of the system and the richness of life's experiences. This gratitude can shift one's perspective and promote a sense of well-being. Gratitude is also an attitude we learned about in our mindfulness lessons on mindfulness-based stress reduction. Another strength that emerges when leading from the self includes empathy. The self is deeply empathetic, able to sense and understand the emotions of the parts and others without becoming overwhelmed by them. The self can embrace an exile with love, while holding the emotions and sensations of the exile, desiring to help it heal and allowing the protector to witness the empathetic interaction. This empathy is key to creating lasting healing relationships within the internal system. Now, after watching these first 2 videos about IFS, you're probably wondering, if the self in IFS is this ever-present, strong, resilient, empathic, calm, confident, courageous, and curious essence and energy that people have had their whole lives, why on earth did it allow events in people's lives to cause exiles and protectors in the first place? In the internal family systems model, the self is indeed viewed as an ever-present, inherently healthy core of our being, embodying qualities like strength, resilience, empathy, calmness, confidence, courage, and curiosity. However, the development of exiles and protectors occurs not because the self allows it in a lazy or permissive sense, but rather because external circumstances can overwhelm or obscure our access to the self, especially during formative years or traumatic events. When individuals, especially children, face overwhelming situations such as trauma, neglect, or intense emotional pain, their capacity to remain connected to the self can be compromised. Children often lack the cognitive and emotional tools to process complex experiences fully. In these moments, protective parts of the psyche step in to manage or contain the pain, leading to the formation of exiles, parts that hold the pain. IFS calls this pain a burden. And protectors arise. Protectors manage or suppress the exiles. The emergence of exiles and protectors is an adaptive response aimed at preserving psychological integrity in the human mind. Or in other words, trauma and stress can fragment the human mind into a complicated system. These parts are not malicious. They are attempting to help the individual cope in the absence of accessible self-leadership. For example, exiles carry burdens of pain, shame, or fear which are sequestered to prevent overwhelming the individual's daily functioning. Protectors, managers, and firefighters work tirelessly to prevent these burdens from surfacing, employing strategies like perfectionism, avoidance, or even addictive behaviors. It's important to note that the self doesn't disappear during these times. Rather, its leadership is temporarily overshadowed by the protected part's urgent efforts. The intensity of certain experiences can make it challenging for individuals to remain grounded in the self's qualities. IFS therapy focuses on helping individuals reconnect with their self and heal the wounded parts. By acknowledging and appreciating the roles of protectors and exiles, individuals can gradually unburden these parts, allowing the self to lead with compassion and confidence once again. The development of exiles and protectors isn't a failure of the self, but a testament to the mind's resilience in the face of adversity. These parts emerge to protect the individual when access to the self is compromised. Through understanding and internal communication, one can restore the self's leadership and achieve internal harmony. In closing, for your key takeaways, the self is the heart of the IFS approach, offering a transformative path toward healing, growth, and balance. By cultivating the qualities of the self, calmness, curiosity, compassion, clarity, confidence, courage, creativity, connectedness, cooperation, and consideration, we can lead our internal system with wisdom and grace. The self's character strengths, such as integrity, resilience, and humility, enhance our ability to navigate life's challenges and foster deeper connections with ourselves and others. Through IFS therapy, individuals learn to trust their self and allow it to lead their parts toward healing. This process empowers them to overcome internal conflicts, build inner harmony, and live a life aligned with their true values. Thank you for watching this video lesson about the self and IFS therapy. May this understanding of the self bring greater peace, compassion, and clarity to your journey of healing. So, if you enjoyed the video and you thought it was helpful, insightful, or educational, please like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay connected for new content.